Hi all, I have another stunning game from David Grosvenor. Time control 1 minute 40 moves, so very fast time control. 2.8 gigahertz CPU against on four CPUs versus a GTX 1060. So Leela with the graphics card, the 1060 graphics card. E4 from Stockfish 9. We have a Sicilian defense, and we have the anti-Sveshnikov systems, I call it. So Bishop B5, also known as the Nimzovich-Rosalimo attack. G6, white takes on C6, D takes, and this is, sorry, B takes C6. This is the end of the opening book stage. White castles, Bishop G7, D3, E5, A3, black clamps down on B4, knight C3, D6, H3, knight E7, B3. You'll note here that this fragmented pawn structure, particularly A5, it could be a big target later. From the white perspective, black castles, knight A4, H6, knight D2. Also, the C4 square could be useful as well to white sometimes. F5, knight C4. Pressure is being mounted here on black's pawn chain, particularly A5 with that knight C4. Black doesn't usually want to compromise the structure further with a move like D5, will be weakening C5 later. So Bishop E6, Queen E1, putting on the pressure on A5. F4, F3, G5, Bishop D2. Do we have a fair swap here? Black's got the opportunity for a space advantage, which might lead to some attacking potential, or connected passed pawns. I'm going to give you that or. Connected passed pawns to think about, because A5 is dropping off here, surely. Knight G6, knight takes A5. Isn't white winning, you might ask? Rook A6, addressing the immediate need to defend the C6 pawn. B4, C takes, A takes. We have now H5. Leela progresses this squish strategy on the king side. The king, though, evacuates. So this is a twist on the normal story. The king evacuating here, is this really enough? This pawn sack over here, is there enough for black to play with? Knight H4. Rook G1 holding on G2 with the king evacuating. G4, Leela presses on anyway, HG, HG, C4. Queen E8. Queen F1. Bishop F6. King E2. The king is evacuating. Rook A7. The queen holding C6 now frees up the rook to potentially go to H7 if needed. The king continues the evacuation. Bishop D8. C5. D5. Knight B6. G3. So there's no immediate attack on the white king. What's going on here? Isn't white winning this? King C2. Bishop F6. Rook H1. We have Rook F7 here. Bishop C3, Rook H7, Queen E2, and now black closes up the center. Leela closes the center. It would be a very bad idea indeed to play D takes, because white could use that central file, big advantage. The knight on B6 is more justified. Okay, so closing the center seems sensible here. Bishop D2, King G7, knight AC4, and the king actually goes to G6 here, which connects the rooks up again, so protecting this rook over here, because that unveiled an attack on the rook so elegantly. The rooks are holding each other. Rook A5, Queen E7, Rook H A1. On Rook takes A7, you might ask. Let's look at a forcing sequence. This is interesting for black, because actually it's actually quite dangerous to play Knight takes G2 here, believe it or not. And this is a little bit similar to the game continuation in a way, because black can put pressure on F3, and once F3 goes, we have the potential for connected passed pawns. This is just a variation, but actually black's doing very, very well here with the connected passed pawns. And this theme is very, very important here, because in the game continuation now, Rook takes A5, Queen C7, Knight AC4. This position, will it still work in this position? And I'm going to give you a thinking expansion tip here. A lot of the concepts I loved from Irving Chernov's Most Instructive Games of Chess. Some of them included like a knight outpost on d5, pass pawns, connected pass pawns, king in the endgame. There's a lot of strategic themes we can think about, but sometimes we don't believe in them. Now here, there's no immediate king attack, but there's a potential if we can just believe, in the connected pass pawn potential. And Leela does believe in it and plays knight takes g2. Now this is only one protected pass pawn, right? How would we make this connected pass pawns? We'd have to eliminate f3, surely. So the next moves are sort of maybe almost deducible from that, because here we wouldn't normally have the guts to sack a piece for this sort of position unless we really know what our end goal is. If our end goal is clear to connected pass pawns, maybe this isn't so outrageous. Just a very quiet move, queen h7. White's pretty awkward in this particular configuration with that pinned bishop. It's difficult actually to defend f3. The only piece which can defend f3 is the rook. This knight in particular is out in the middle of nowhere. This knight can't really defend f3, hasn't got d2 or e5. So in fact, is f3 falling or not? Because this is a milestone achievement to get connected pass pawns if f3 drops. And in fact here, White plays knight a5, trying to get pass pawns but of its own on the queen side. But we have now queen h5. Very difficult to defend here, f3. White plays rook f1. But now, just before we go into that, if knight takes, queen takes f3, the two connected pass pawns appear. Our dreams come true. And this concept implies increasing value every step the pass pawns take. And it's the case here in this variation, that this would be exceptionally crushing. Once the dream comes true, it can realize the benefits. Absolutely crushing example. So here rook f1 was played, but the forcing move comes to the assistance to try and get the dream into reality. Bishop h3, the rook moves, and queen takes f3, and we have the setting now for connected, dangerous pass pawn potential. White also seems to have its own connected pass pawns as well, to be fair. But which is faster? That's a key question now. Bishop e6, b5. We have a race situation. King g7, knight a5, getting out of the way of the c pawn. Queen g4, getting out of the way of the f pawn. Knight d5, trying to be a nuisance here. This is actually taken. And now f3. So even though White's got 3 connected pass pawns, black only 2, but these are quicker. Immediate threat of f2 is now on the cards. White plays knight c4, f2. It's all over basically. At this stage it looks to be all over, but White plays on, b6. The queen is taken queening. You don't often see that, taking queen queening. Now, these 3 connected pass pawns are also going to be extremely dangerous, even though White's just sacked the queen to slow black down here. Black plays a key move, e4, trying to get at White's king as well now, trying to open up some squares. We have b7 being played. On d takes e4, then queen f3 shows the potential, attacking potential here. Pardon me. For example, e5, bishop g5, tapping into that pin, putting more pressure, which makes queen c3 check available now because of that pinned bishop. So rook d1, say taking here, check, and this is too slow for White. The pawns are just too slow. Checkmate. So e4, very dangerous. So with the ideas as mentioned, you know, queen f3, bishop g5, queen c3. So b7 is played. Now Leela does take a step back to address that potential queening pawn. King b3, queen f3, bishop e1, g2, knight d2, and the game was adjudicated here as a win for black. Let's have a look at a continuation. Queen takes d3 check. This continuation, rook b8, c6, What else? Check. It's just mating white, basically. Check. It's too slow. White's king safety is compromised here. White can take that pawn with check. Runs out of checks, though. And this is now desperate, knight c4. This is just an example continuation. Bishop c7, sealing and mating that. And white's just pretty desperate here just to stave off being check mated. So, what do we get from this game? For me, it's how strategic dreams, once they're realized, they can pay the dividends. The strategic dream of the connected passed pawns became a reality with the assistance of some forcing moves like bishop h3. But even then, white had also its own strategic dream, but it was a bit slow. Black delivered the benefits quicker of the connected passed pawns, winning that queen, and able to stave off these pawns and actually checkmate the king if the game had continued. So another mighty lesson in connected passed pawn potential we're getting here from Leela Chess. Dynamic piece sacrifice, and then some amazingly quiet, gutsy moves. Just having great faith in that pattern that connected passed pawns would deliver. And I believe that's what Leela Chess games, why they're so instructive. Chernev's right about his strategic themes, but we need to really believe in them and have the right implementation for them to deliver. I hope you got something from it. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks so much.